Shannon B. Douglas, this is While We Were Asleep. I'm back in Ottawa. Spent the last 3 days at the formerly the Manning Center Conference, the Canada Strong and Free, I think it's called, network. Met some very incredible people. Those of you who know me might think it's, I think it's kind of strange myself that I'm attending a conservative conference because I've been a lifelong liberal, and I really believe that our liberals have lost the plot and have gone too far to the left for my comfort in their policies and the things they condone and their partnership with the NDP. And there's a particular issue that's close to my heart and close to my family that there is just zero chance that the Liberals or NDP are going to touch. To be honest, the Conservative politicians aren't much better, but the Conservative networks are listening. My name is Shannon B. Douglas. This is While We Were Asleep. So we know that in the fall of last year, as the Parliament and Senate were contemplating Bill C-4, that's the anti-conversion therapy bill, that Conservative members of Parliament were informed about the loopholes in the bill and what they were leading to. And there are still very problematic issues with Conservative politicians and the Conservative Party speaking out about what's happening with children in Canada. We are indoctrinating children. There is a Western phenomena of, everything in the woke world is opposite of what it says. So the anti-conversion therapy actually hides the conversion of children, the brainwashing of our kids online and in schools and in social circles into thinking that a boy can become a girl or a girl can become a boy, and that the answer to problems for kids who have anxiety and eating disorders and who might be autistic or on the spectrum, maybe they're Indigenous, is that they're actually trans. And the solution to that identity problem is to give them medication. And for children who are prepubescent or Tanner stage 2, it's called, they're given puberty blockers, which are repurposed off-label toxic cancer drugs used to treat prostate cancer. And at one point they were used to chemically castrate sex offenders who either by court order or by voluntary submission took these to halt or freeze or hijack their endocrine systems. And those kids who are given puberty blockers in Canada, and we're seeing, like just at CHEO, Children's Hospital Eastern Ontario here in Ottawa, since 2014, over 8 years. I got this from a local newspaper to the Valley that interviewed the head of the gender clinic at CHEO. Approximately 12 people, young women, presented in 2014 or 8 years ago with gender dysphoria for treatment, and the number is now 250 a year. That's a 2,000% increase, and that's actually small. When we look at the scope of time where this really launched to the present moment, we're seeing increases of this phenomena by 4,000%, 4,500, 5,000% in a 2021 college survey over a period of years. A 10,000% increase, 100-fold presentation of gender non-conforming women in U.S. college survey over a 15-year period. This is never before in human history. And the trans activists and the people who promote this insane ideology that we can medically transition children, which not just includes puberty blockers, moving on to cross-sex hormones, which will sterilize a vulnerable child. That's what's happening in Canada today. That's the explicit explanation, description of what we're doing. We are sterilizing vulnerable children in Canada on a massive scale. We're wrapping it in a rainbow flag, and we're calling it inclusion. Any criticism of this is called bigoted and transphobic. We're doing it backwards. We've got it upside down. Then they go on. Now there's 42,000 young women on GoFundMe seeking money for double mastectomies and breast removals. Kids who are on testosterone for a number of years, young girls who think they're boys. 3, 4, 5 years have to have partial hysterectomies, even full hysterectomies by the time they're in their 20s. Young women who are having their reproductive organs removed. Ovectomies, I think they're called. For boys, it's oophorectomies. No, it's oophorectomies. Anyway, they're facing early onset dementia, osteoporosis. Unbelievable side effects. These are transhumanist medical experiments being conducted on children in our country today. And anyone who speaks out about this is why the Conservative members of Parliament voted for C4. They were too afraid of being called transphobic bigots. And I got this from someone who has been high up in the Conservative Party for decades, who has known my little girl her entire life. And he said, well, you don't understand. The Liberals were going to use this as an issue to say that we were bigots. And I said, so you sacrificed the children. You sacrificed the children. That was whether they're conscious of that or not, that's what happened. We can stop this. I've decided to run for school board here in Ottawa. If the incumbent runs, it will be a national spectacle. I'm going to take a lot of heat, but there are people who are supporting me and coming together so that we can push this conversation into the public sphere. I'm not afraid of cancellation. You can bring whatever you can bring. This past weekend, I was mobbed by someone who ratioed me on Twitter, 100,000 followers. So a woke trans activist decided to say, hey, let's see the percentage of people who are going to hate on this person versus a number of people who are going to support, and that's supposed to prove something. Well, all it proved is that this is a bullying, censorious, disgusting movement that somehow thinks that mobbing and censoring people is part of a healthy democracy. Ottawa is beautiful this time of year. I'm walking along the Rideau Canal. It's hard for me sometimes to imagine. It feels surreal as I'm walking through the world. People going about their business, walking around, maybe ignorant of what's happening. And I'm seeing this horror beneath the surface. And I'm seeing people who, like me, are trying to speak out about it, being attacked, abused, threatened, canceled. In some cases, their careers being destroyed, losing friends and family who won't talk to them. It's a very dangerous moment in our history as Canadians, and it's time for us all to stand up. My name is Shannon Douglas. This is While We Were Asleep.